What was IVE's secret? Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you're having a great Labor Day weekend. Today I have a slightly anticipated video for one of you. We are going to be reviewing and talking about IVE's secret and see if we're able to find out what it is. Before we get started, as is true with all my videos, this is in no way, shape, or form meant to be taken as a hate video to the girls or the fans. This is just my opinion on the songs. So, with that out of the way, let's jump into it with our first song. We start off with our title track, Exo XZ, a slightly moodier sound than what I'm used to from an IVE title track. The song itself is about wanting this person and sort of being infatuated by them, saying in the chorus, "Give me the X, give me the O, give me the LOVE. If it's you, I want it all." They expand on this sentiment and tell the listener that they won't be able to find another girl like them because there aren't any out there. The listener is then told that they won't want to wake up from this fantasy. They shouldn't even try. Honestly, this song is more on the weaker side in my opinion for an IVE release. It sounds like something that would play in a darker teen romance in the 2010s, but with a more current edge. To a certain extent, it works because it gives me a sense of nostalgia, but at the same time it works against it because I feel like I've heard it before. The chorus itself also feels a little bit clumsy. The oohs and the want it all repetition save it for me, but not by much. I don't know. By the time the bridge comes along, I already want it to be over. Mind you, this song is barely 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. The last chorus does a good job of changing it up a bit and giving it a bit more of a darker tone, but it's too little too late for me. Honestly, this as a title track disappointed me. While I'm not the biggest dive, I do like most of their title tracks, but this one just didn't hit. It felt a little empty and like it didn't really do anything. It could very much just be me, but after IVE empathy, I expected a little more. 6 out of 10. Next up, we have Wildbird. Honestly, I'm gonna need you to walk with me because I think this will be a reach, but to me, it's a song about the narrator sort of reminiscing on who they used to be in contrast to who and sort of where they are now. Sort of like Era Wildbird. They just have a lot of bird and sky motifs in general. They mention wings, flight, the sky itself. The first verse to me sort of paints the main idea of what I believe the song to be about. Did you hear the rumor? She's a wild, 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 wild bird. That's right, they call me that. Oh, I take a step into the city. I was totally oblivious of who I really was. Implying to me what I mentioned. They are sort of looking back or even just sharing or realizing how perhaps naive they were. The chorus sort of expands more on the idea of looking back at the past, tying it in with old forgotten film and never missing that brilliant moment. Again, I feel like I'm grasping at straws. It could be that I'm not the target demo for the song either, but it feels like a bit of a nothing burger. Sonically, it's very similar to a 2010s inspirational guitar song, think Hey Soul Sister by Train or Fight Song by Rachel Platten. Personally, this made it harder to get through the song, I'm not gonna lie. It felt a little cookie cutter, a bit lackluster, and plain if I'm being frank. I would not seek this song out, so honestly, a 4 out of 10. Moving right along, we have Dear My Feelings, a song about revisiting your old thoughts and feelings you wrote out and being able to look at these problems having grown and matured. The lyrics themselves paint a pretty linear story. It starts off with the narrator reading their old diary and rediscovering those feelings from the past. They describe even being embarrassed, asking themselves why there are so many ups and downs, ultimately deciding to embrace those feelings. It could be because of the translation I'm reading, but the way the pre-chorus is written immediately reminded me of Inside Out. Gather around the headquarters of my heart, whether you cry or smile, guys, I love you. Personifying her feelings just instantly brought me back to when I saw that movie. They thank their love, their tears, their butterflies, their sadness and happiness, saying I love my own feelings. Towards the end of the song, they even discover pages filled with messy ink, we can infer from their crying. They even apologize to their blanket if they hurt them from kicking it around. Honestly, this song has a beautiful message. Sonically, it reminds me of Heart Attack by Purple Kiss, rest in peace. They both have that Doja Cat Say So retro sound that remained pretty popular in K-pop for a few years. I love this type of song, but once again, it reminds me of something I've heard before, but this is still my favorite song on the album, so 8 out of 10. Gotcha, Baddest Arrows. Okay, I'll just say it, it's my least favorite track. Honestly, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and blame it on the translation and maybe my own stupidity, but to me, these lyrics make very little sense, and the parts I sort of understand make me cringe a lot. Speaking of cringing, the talk singing / rapping, whatever that was, it got old. Quick. The production itself also felt a little bit all over the place, like it couldn't really tell what it wanted to do, so they tried to make it moody and cool by having this more gritty, hard chorus with less busy verses by comparison. The only part I sort of enjoyed was the bridge, and it's not by much. It feels like they were trying to make a darker or edgier version of Seulgi's Better Days, but failed miserably. Seulgi and SM did a great job with balancing that song, and her tone really helps sell the concept. In IVE's case, it feels like a poor recreation without understanding what made the other song or the genre work. However, again, I want to leave room for discussion similar to my talking points on Gnarly. I don't think this song was made for me, and that's perfectly fine. If you love it, great. And that also goes for anything I cover, by the way. If you love something I hate, tell me why you love it and we can have a chat in the comments. I love talking to you guys and reading your opinions and interpretations of both the songs I cover, but also my opinions about them. Because of that, if I'm not a particular listener of the genre itself, I could very well be the one that isn't understanding what makes the genre work. But at least for me, this song just doesn't work. Little tangent aside, unfortunately, I give this song like a 2 out of 10. I won't be returning to this. Now we have Heartbeats. I'm conflicted. Genuinely, I feel my enjoyment of this song, or lack thereof, is purely because of the language barrier. Let me explain. The song is about the narrator being sort of new to love and having a bit more of a logical approach to it, at least from what I see. They compare themselves to a robot throughout the track, at times directly stating their bodies moving like a robot. The second verse, I believe, is from the other person's perspective because it talks about the complete opposite. They describe themselves as spicy, hot, no mild, and even point out that the other person's pickup lines sound like they came straight from a book. Now, why do I say this song suffers because of my language barrier? Well, my first few listens of the song are just listens. I don't have the translations pulled up or anything, truly vibes based. And then, as I get familiar with it and get prepared to write the script, I listen to it with the lyrics a few more times, taking notes as to what I think and sort of build up my opinion of the song as a whole with as much context as possible. Because of this, my first 10, maybe 15 listens, I had no idea what the song was truly about. Well, at least what I think it's about. Therefore, I was purely just hearing it since I couldn't take away any deeper meaning. In this time, I felt like the song was underbaked. Like there's a build-up in the pre-chorus that sounds great but goes nowhere, and the sort of xylophone sounds throughout I feel could have made for a gorgeous full-sounding chorus if paired with another instrumentation. But it just sounds like they threw together a bunch of things and called it a chorus. Now, why don't I flat out hate this song? It's because I see potential. Like, I sort of see the vision, if you will. If my interpretation is correct, or heck, even just using it as the baseline for my enjoyment, the chaos in the production mirrors the lyrics. The person feels robotic and it's trying to do all of these different things, and so is the song. It's doing a whole lot, but then when the pre-chorus hits and the lyrics are a bit more introspective, talking about it's so bad being trapped in the norm, like throw it out manual, it becomes more stripped back, mirroring that thought process. But then it picks back up in the second half saying, bump it, feeling electric, eyes looking fuzzy, I've got no solution, love has always been full of errors. Because of this dichotomy is why it's my second favorite track. I have parts that I love and a chorus that I absolutely despise, so 7 out of 10. We have now reached our final song, Midnight Kiss, a beautiful song about yearning for your other half but being separated from them. The lyrics to this song are gorgeous. Even without the translation, I feel like the point comes across from the instrumental and the constant repetition of Midnight Kiss, I'm missing your lips. Even though it's beautiful, the song falls a wee bit short for me. Unfortunately, it's a little forgettable. Now don't get me wrong, if you've seen my other reviews or reactions, you know I love me a ballad, slow song, or just a track that simply winds an album down. Therefore, this should be right up my alley. However, like all my criticisms for the album, it sounds like something I've heard before. Because of that, in combination with the other tracks also sounding like something I've heard before, I just didn't really enjoy it. Listening to it by itself as I'm writing this section, it's honestly a very easy listen, which after Gotcha was something I needed. However, at the same time, it felt too normal and regular following two sort of more experimental tracks. so I was left with a bit of tonal whiplash. But technically, there isn't really anything wrong with the song, so I'd also give it a 7 out of 10. Talking about the album as a whole, this unfortunately follows the same pattern I've had with their releases. I like some of their songs, usually the title track and 1 or 2 B-sides, and don't really get the rest. However, for this one, I only sort of like the one song, being Dear My Feelings. The rest have issues that outweigh listening to it, even Midnight Kiss. Instead of one song lifting the album, it's getting dragged down by the rest. Honestly, if I wasn't reviewing this album, I wouldn't have re-listened, and that says a lot. I've accepted that maybe their music just isn't for me, or maybe it's just this album, but who knows. I've already had polarizing opinions about their releases in the past, so this one not being any different honestly doesn't shock me. To a certain degree, this album sort of feels like something they put together to meet a quota of a second yearly release, because although I have some issues with Rebel Heart, You Wanna Cry, and Thank You, the other half of the IVE Empathy album is really strong in my opinion. But even as a whole, that project was just more solid altogether, having multiple songs that could work as singles or title tracks. So being fully transparent, my expectations were a bit higher than they would have been for your typical IVE release, but I was pretty let down. I'd have to give this album a 3 out of 10. A decent retro song just isn't enough to warrant sitting through this album again, and that honestly pains me to say. So unfortunately, this video doesn't really have a happy ending. What was IVE's secret? Restraint? Not knowing how to love? Yearning? To me, it should have been this album. If it remained a secret for longer and could have been a bit more fully cooked, I think this would have been a solid release. Jokes aside, I'm really sorry this video is a bit more on the negative side. I usually try to give a lot more praise and not really fall into hate or common talking points used against the groups I cover, unless the criticism is warranted. And I've also tried to stay away from other opinions on this release so that I could be as authentic as possible. Once again, I don't want this to be taken as hate of any kind, but if you want to lift up your spirits a bit, I'd highly suggest watching any other of my videos. Speaking of other videos, thank you once again for your support on last week's video about Joy's first mini album. It performed much better than I anticipated and the response has been pretty positive. Feel free to check that one out once we're done here, as well as checking out my shorts. I'm trying to really feed you guys good content, so check out this video's sister short where I rank the album songs as usual. But with that being said, thank you guys so very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a video. Tell me in the comments down below which song was your favorite on the album, and also feel free to explain to me why my take is just completely wrong. I am definitely open to your feedback, and I am actually really excited to see what you guys think about this album, because I've seen a lot of mixed reviews after having written this script. So yeah, remember that I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys hopefully very, very soon. Bye!